Welcome to another collaboration between That Sound Podcast and Wall Again. Morning, Gavin. How's things?
Not too bad, Rob. And yourself?
Go all good now. All good. We set ourselves a big challenge this week, didn't we?
We did, and I tell you, it was a very tough one. It was a very, very tough one. So we came up with the greatest hits for people to kind of get a feel for Metallica,
That's
get an
it.
overall aspect. And what was it, 77 minutes? I hope it is that we tried to
Yeah,
keep.
yeah. So exactly, we wanted to do a greatest hits of Metallica because amazingly they've never released one, which I thought was crazy. Because like,
Yeah, I suppose the closest thing probably be the S&M or something like that, but that's with an
yeah,
orchestra, but probably the closest thing you can get.
exactly.
Um,
And in the age of streaming now, we're probably never going to get a greatest hits from Metallica. Um,
well, I wouldn't say never.
Yeah, well, yeah, you never know. They might see an opportunity at some point for a vinyl. But
Yes, yes, yes. Um,
so we
you want to
decided
go first?
to put together what we consider our greatest hits, but the trick was it had to fit on one CD, and Metallica's songs are so long. This was a big challenge. So we were going over and back all week,
Yes, yes, yes.
comparing notes and seeing what way we would do this because, like, obviously, I know, like, Guns N' Roses. They had a greatest hits released in the 2000s, and it was nothing to do with the band. It was just the record label put it out, and it was basically the most popular songs. So if you go onto
Hmm.
Spotify and look at the most popular songs that Metallica have, like if there was a record label doing it, they'd probably just pick the most popular. But then,
Yes.
we were saying we could do different approaches to it. You could also look at it as as a pure fan, what's our favorite songs,
Yeah.
which which will be interesting.
Yes.
And then the other way to look at it is as a segue album. So if it's someone who's into rock and getting into metal and you want to give them an album, one CD of music to kind of start their journey on Metallica, this is what we would do. And like that's the approach I've kind of taken.
Same as. It's like back in the day when someone used to make you like a mixtape kind of a thing, with the play and record and get a few tracks to get you into a certain band. That's the kind of feel I've gone down. It's probably not my top album, but it's a good mix for someone to get into Metallica. So hopefully, I'm interested to see, did we go similar?
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be loads of discussion points here, no doubt about it. And then obviously the running order of the album is important, or the best of is important, because some bands actually treat it like a set list. So they'll stick in like as you're going to a gig and you're listening to a set, they'll stick it in that order. And then other bands will
Yes.
go in like chronological order from their earliest album to their latest. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting. Going to be loads of discussion points. So do you want to kick us off, Gavin? You go through your full album.
Yeah, okay. So I kind of set it off as a set list
Okay,
if it
cool.
was played light. Okay, so I started with Blackened.
Brilliant.
Okay,
Brilliant.
um, rolls into Creeping Dead,
Yeah.
and then tone it back to Nothing Else Matters,
Wow. Okay.
and then another heavy hitter, Dyer's Eve.
And Dyer's Eve. I tell you what, that is some mixture of
Yeah,
different types of songs.
I was
First
kind of
four.
trying to go with that method that the band had on some albums with the trashy and the ballad, and I kind of, in parts, have gone that way.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously the self-title you can't do. So Black and Creeping Death, Nothing Else Matters, Dyer's Eve, Master of Puppets,
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah.
The Day That Never Comes,
Yeah. Okay.
One,
Yeah, of course. These are long
sad,
songs, Gav.
they are
You know, you're
sad but true.
sad but true. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I just keep going, yeah.
Yeah. Keep going, and then we can
Yeah.
discuss what nearly
Uh,
made the list.
Ride the Lightning,
Yeah.
The God That Failed,
Right. Interesting.
For Whom the Bell Tolls,
Yeah. Classic.
and Seek and Destroy.
Seek and destroy.
And that comes in on my calculations at 77 minutes and 2 seconds.
Wow. Right. That's a great set list for anyone who is trying to get into Metallica.
I tried to put a bit of because Metallica obviously have a mixture of stuff over the years. There's a lot of heavy hitters there, but there's a lot of classics, but there's a lot of, we'll say, not, you know, we say deep cuts or whatever you want to call them, maybe like the God that Fails. For maybe people that's not really into Metallica, there's a couple there that you mightn't be too familiar with, even in passing conversations and stuff about Metallica. I try to
Yeah,
throw one or two in there, but there's a lot of trash in there. There's a couple of ballads. You have one. I didn't put Enter Sandman in
yeah,
because I think everybody that has a pair of ears knows Enter Sandman. You don't need that to get an introduction into Metallica. I don't think anyway.
fair enough.
But yeah,
Fair enough.
that's my mix. I feel like you go on a ride on that mix. You kind of go oh, and then it comes down. With Nothing Else Matters. Dyer's Eve brings you back up. Puppets is class. The Day That Never Comes. This show that we were at in Madrid
Yeah,
last year, that live performance, I've talked about it before. It was unbelievable. It's a special song. It is a special song on a brilliant album too that we just reviewed actually. But and then one Sad But True, Ride the Lightning. God the Fail is a brilliant song. I don't care what anybody says. It's class. It's brilliant. And I think Luke got to see that in Mannheim. I think they don't play it too often.
brilliant.
They've played it less than 10 times, I think, live.
Yeah.
So that's a brilliant song. I love the drumming and that bells and Seek and Destroy. Hey, you know what I mean? That's a great way to, turn on your heels after a show listening to that song. Like brilliant.
Okay. So I'm noticing there's nothing from load or reload there.
Hey Rob, 77 minutes is
I
tough, man.
know. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
tough.
You have to cut something.
I had Outlaw Tornin.
Yeah.
I had King Nothing in. I had what else did I leave out? Um, I don't think I touched 72 Seasons or Hardwired. That Magnetic might have had another one. It might have been All Nightmare Long or something. I think I had in Orion was in. I
Yeah.
love Orion. I was going to
Again,
put an instrumental in, but kills you in the 77 minutes.
it does. The
Um,
long songs kill you.
yeah,
I'm
to
surprised you
live in
put a title track in as well. Like
puppets,
you
yeah,
Ride the Lightning in.
and puppets.
And your Puppets, yeah. So you have two title tracks and they're long songs.
Yeah, I hope my I hope my calculations are right, but I think it came out at 77 minutes.
Yeah. Well, look, you didn't have I don't think you had too many songs anyway. So it's
Yeah,
it sounds good. And obviously nothing from Saint Anger. I'm surprised at that, Gav.
yeah, like yeah, it's
Are you a Saint Anger fan?
I'm not a fan of the production. I think it was just a moment in the band's time, in my opinion, where look, they didn't put a whole lot of effort into it, but I think it just kind of had to be done to get the band back together. If it hadn't have come out, the band were gone.
Yeah, fair
You
enough.
know,
There's
and
nothing
and
on there you're putting on a best of though. So
no, no,
that
no, no,
kind
no.
of
Even
yeah,
even 72 seasons and Hardwired for me, no, 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 no.
great stuff. Very interesting. Right, I'll run through my list then. Um,
Yes,
so I'm just gonna firstly say I went through them chronological order. I
okay.
actually love when bands do that. They go from the earliest album and they go the whole way through. So that's something I stuck with. So from Seek and Destroy, from Kill 'Em All, I've Seek and Destroy kicking off. Then from the next four albums, I picked two from each album to try and balance it. So I've got For Whom the Bell Tolls and Creeping Death from Ride the Lightning. I've got Master of Puppets and Welcome Home Sanitarium from Master of Puppets. I've got One and Harvester of Sorrow from Injustice for All. I've got Enter Sandman and Sad But True from the Black Album. And then it was tricky because you have a lot of albums from the mid 90s right up to now, but there's not a lot of great stuff on all those albums. So I had to kind of pick and choose what I was going to represent, and I wanted to represent as many different eras of the band as possible. So I wanted a song in there to represent the load and reload era of the mid 90s. Now I could have gone with Fuel, but I decided, look, that's again, it's one of those songs that it's always put forward as that era. Like they were playing Fuel live for a long, long time in the 2000s, and I don't think it's the best song off those two albums.
Still are.
They're still playing Fuel Live, yeah?
They played it in Madrid, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's okay, but
Like the Pyro song.
yeah, it's a pyro song, yeah. So I've picked something way left field. It's Until It Sleeps. And the reason I picked it is because I think it's a beautiful song, right? That's for a start, regardless of it being a Metallica song or anything else. And it was really popular at the time. They had a great video for it, and it's melodic and it shows a different side to the band. So I could have put Nothing Else Matters in there, but like you said about Enter Sandman, I think everybody knows that song,
Yeah.
and I just didn't think it belonged there. I tried to keep the ballads to two songs on the first five albums, so
Yes.
I had Fade to Black in there as well, but I've gone with one and Welcome Home Sanitarium. I thought they were the strongest of the ballad songs, and I was trying to evenly balance those classic albums from Ride the Lightning into the Black Album to have two
Yes.
on each. So that was my decision there. The next one might surprise you. It's Whiskey in the Jar.
Okay.
Um, they love it. They play it live an awful lot. It's one of the top hits on Spotify for them. I think it's in their top five, amazingly.
Wow.
I think it's actually a great version. It's very well produced and very well
Yeah.
played.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear it live as well. I'm sure you heard it in Dublin too. Like, and
Well,
they
Slane
loved
Castle was the last time I heard
it.
it.
Right, yeah, they played it in the RDS as well, I remember.
Always playing.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, but what was I going to say? Yeah, I love the fact that Hetfield and Ulrich and the whole band have that love for Tin Lizzy. I know it's not a Tin
Yes.
Lizzy song, but Tin Lizzy, and Phil in it, and I love that connection and the fact that Hetfield will always, this one's for you, Phil, and like there's a love there, and you almost feel that bond between them, and I think a lot of the bands back in the day, Metallica, really do still have that love for the likes of like Saxon and Tin Lizzy and all these other bands, English, the new British wave and stuff. Like I love the fact that they're not afraid to say where they got their influence from.
Yeah.
I do love that about the band.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's arguable whether that's a better song or that's a better recording than the Tin Lizzy version. Like Tin Lizzy didn't really like that song when they
Yeah,
released it. And like it got them a platform. I think it got to like number six in the UK. They were on top of the pops for it. It was a
yeah,
good boost for them at the time. But it was what came after with the dual guitars, Jailbreak and Johnny the Fox. That's live and dangerous, obviously. That's what
yeah,
really
yeah.
made Tin
Sometimes you
Lizzy.
have to do that, and probably Metallica weighed up the options too of the commercial end
Yeah,
of that song as well. But I love the video. I always
yeah,
remember the
great
video and
video. Yeah,
crying and stuff. Yeah, it's class.
yeah.
But cool.
That's in there. And then I finish off with The Day That Never Comes because from the last four albums, like for me, Saint Anger is toilet paper. It's so bad. The more I listen to it, the more I dislike it. So that should tell you what kind of
Yeah,
an album it is, in my opinion.
yeah,
Um, I really like Death Magnetic. I think the songwriting, guitar playing on that is phenomenal. It really was a return to form. Could have been mastered a bit better
yeah,
on CD. I know they've probably fixed that now if you buy it on vinyl or if you buy or even listen on Spotify Premium. I'm sure it's pretty good. But yeah, there's great songs in that. Like you mentioned,
I love the guitar harmonies in it as well, and the layered guitar on some of the songs is class. It's really,
yeah,
and the bass is very prominent in it as well. And like you said, the songwriting again, kind of going off track here, sorry, but like the Unforgiven Tree, some people give it, a bit of grief. I think it's brilliant. I
yeah,
love the piano at the start. I love you getting that kind of insight into Hetfield's life. His honesty again is on the pages as well as a lot of other songs in this album. Like they really smashed on this album. They really did. There is a couple of, I wouldn't say duds. I think there's a few fillers on it as well, and some songs I thought kind of just kind of didn't go anywhere. Just was a song. I thought. But overall, brilliant album. And, Justice 2.0, as some people call it. It definitely, I remember the first time I heard it and it was like, yes, we're back.
we're
Okay.
back. Yeah.
We're
After
back on the
Saint
road here.
Anger, the guitar solos are
Yes,
back.
yes,
The
yes,
great singing, the harmony guitar solos, as you mentioned, back to proper drums.
yes, yes,
So
yes,
yeah, I really like that album. And then the most recent albums, well, Hardwired, I've mentioned many times on my channel. I think it's like a double album. It's overblown. It's boring. There's too much there. I don't think Kirk Hammett contributed much to that album. So I'm
Yeah.
really not a big fan of Hard Wired. And the latest album, 72 Seasons, although the guitar work is really good and the songwriting's good, the riffs are brilliant, I can't get past the drums on that album. They're just too processed for my ears. Too perfect. And I'm sure
Mm.
Luke would have a view on that as well. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like it's hard to listen to that album again. The riffs are brilliant and the guitars and James'
I
voice, but just the drums.
yeah. I think it's definitely better than Hardwired.
Yeah,
Like by a long way, I think. But even the band live, they're, they're, there's something special about them. Like I was lucky enough to catch them twice last year, and they're even Lars's drumming, like he was phenomenal. The
yeah,
first night especially, he was unbelievable. The all were. And they just look happy. The band look happy after being 40 odd years on the road, like going out and filling stadiums, 160,000 people on a weekend.
yeah.
But overall, the band look happy. They look, you know, it was good to see. It was really good to see, I must say.
It's great. Like you look at, they're on the level of, U2, Bruce Springsteen, Taylor Swift, all these mega stars who fill stadiums all over the world. They're on that level, like,
I
and they're
think they're
a
above
metal
it. They're
band.
doing it 40 years. They're doing it 40 years. I think they're bigger than some of them
Well,
people.
I'm just talking about like attendances. Like they've no problem
Yes.
filling out a stadium in Madrid 2 nights in a weekend. Absolutely no
All
problem.
over.
So in terms of they're a metal band, but they've got like the pull of a pop band.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying.
No,
Yes,
which is
yes.
which is unbelievable. Very,
And
very
the demographic of the crowd is like 5-year-old to
yeah,
60-year-old, 70-year-old. It's so funny to see the different age groups of people that goes to see them now. It's
yeah.
brilliant.
Ah, yeah. Well, look, my kids listen to Metallica, and I know yours do as well. So,
Yeah,
like,
it's great.
we're trying to educate the new generation into good music because
Yeah.
what's on the radio at the moment isn't very inspiring. That's for sure.
Is that your full list now, is it?
That's it. Yeah, yeah. So I was. How many minutes was this? So it was 75 minutes.
Okay.
And how many songs had I got?
We've had a lot of the same, haven't we?
12 songs. Yeah, yeah. I think there was a lot of crossover there. All right. Yeah. Um, we both had Seek and Destroy, If We're in the Belt Holes, Creeping Death, Master of Puppets.
Day that never comes.
Day That Never Comes. Sad But True,
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And yeah, so the ones I had that you didn't have was Welcome Home Sanitarium, Enter Sandman, Harvester of Sorrow. I had to put that in there. I absolutely love it.
So good. So
One of the
good.
best intros of all time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That album is just brilliant. And I love the fact that we got to kind of, when you listen to our podcast, whatever, we kind of flipped you. I love that. And I actually spoke to Dave Moore as well. And he checked out your video and he's like, yeah, I love that. He goes, I love it that like talking crap can influence people to fall in love with an album again. I love that. I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And I've done it similar, listening to your show and different things. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I must give that album another listen. You know what I have to mention, kind of going off a little bit. You've probably watched it before, but Pearl Jam live in Chicago, 2016, the documentary kind of video. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my God. I sat up last night and watched it. It was unbelievable.
Okay.
Oh, check it out. I
I'll
got it
check it
on.
out. Make a note here, yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Wrigley
good.
Field, is it?
Yeah, I actually didn't know that Eddie Vedder was from Chicago originally.
That's right. Well, yeah, he was from a suburb outside Chicago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Evanston or something it's called.
sorry, going off here now, but big Cubs fan, and the Cubs went on to win the World Series after 120 years or something. But yeah, if anyone is a fan of Pearl Jam, check that out. It's very good.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Pearl Jam, as you know, so I've got it on the list there. I'll definitely go check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, that was a great chat, Gav. I really enjoyed going through that list and,
Yes.
agonizing over it.
Yeah. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. It'd be interesting maybe if we did something down the line of our personal
Oh,
uh
yeah,
album. That'd be nice. You know.
absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah, for sure.
Something we could look at. But yeah, I could talk Metallica all day. I'm a huge fan. I was actually trying to count up how many times I've seen them live, and I think I'm on 9. I think I'm 9 or
Wow,
10.
that's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah. Oh no, I've talked to people that's I met some interesting people out in Madrid that's been over 100 shows. There's one guy in
Really?
England. Yeah, like some people are talked
That's
to a very
tiger.
interesting guy from where was he from? Austria.
Okay.
And he went on the whole tour uh in Europe last year and he got
Follow
into
them
the
round, city to
followed them
city.
around. But he was working online. I'm like, how are you able to do this? He's like, I work online and I get up early, do my work, go to the show, come home. I'm like, oh man. Like, but the stories that he had and the people that he met and some of the crew
Yeah.
he got to know, and we were lucky enough to catch a few different things. We got to see Kirk and Rob in a kind of a Q&A thing with Ross Halfon, the photographer, and got to kind of meet a few of the crew and got some pics, and it was interesting. It was the only reason we got that was because we kind of buddied up with the boys, and the boys knew the crack of where to be and where to go, and
Yeah.
very interesting. I'd love to be going over to Australia or Toronto. My brother lives in Toronto, and they're playing in Toronto in April, so we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
You
We'll
never
see.
know. Yeah. It's always
I'd
handy
lo-
when you have someone.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, oh man, somewhere to stay that helps out massively. You know what I mean? But it's all money. You're not going to Dublin. You're going across the bloody Atlantic. But um, going to a gig abroad, I feel is a different feel. It's different. It's cool. It's like especially that show that we were at, like you're walking around the middle of Madrid and everyone's in the Metallica t-shirts and everyone's buzzing and everyone's out in the sun. It's just different. Whereas you go to Dublin or Slane and it's raining, it's freezing, and it's still brilliant, but it's just different, you know.
Yeah.
But
The weather in Toronto could be colder than
uh,
here.
April or so should be okay. Should
Yeah,
be
okay.
okay. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, as I said, I could ramble on about Metallica for hours, man. I'm sorry if I'm
Sure.
going off here.
Not at all. Not at all. Great stuff. Look, well, thanks for dialing in. And yeah, we might organize another session in the next few weeks.
Yeah, yeah. No hassle. No hassle. Love it. Thanks for
Great
letting
stuff.
me on.
Okay, just to say to all the subscribers and viewers out there, we'd love to hear your best of Metallica. So don't be afraid to put it in the comments below. But you have to try and keep it to one CD. So I think we were saying 75, 76 minutes, something around that. Because that's the challenge. It's trying to condense the songs that you think are the best Metallica songs into one CD. And tell us, would you be interested in doing a Segway album or just do your greatest hits or whatever it might be? We'd love to hear from you. And make sure you like and subscribe on this channel. This channel is the Wall of Game channel, and also over on the That Sound Podcast YouTube channel. And Gav, do you want to plug where else you're uploading your podcast to?
Yeah, we're on Spotify and Apple Podcast, all that. Anywhere you get your Acast podcast, if you want to check it out, just search That Sound Podcast, and we have some very similar to yourself album reviews and guests on and artists and different things.
Brilliant.
Myself and
I'll leave links to all of those down in the detailed section of this video, guys. So make sure you go and check that out and check out what Gavin and Luke are doing there. It's absolutely brilliant stuff. Okay, and we will talk to you on the next one. Bye for now.